Welcome back, everybody, to the LPL as we head straight into the draft for Top Esports versus JDG. And my God, what a draft. Kalista has made it through for the first time in, I don't even know how long. It feels like forever since I saw Kalista in the LPL. It's up against the Heimerdinger Varus in the bot lane.
But the thing is, like, the Heimerdinger and the Varus, they're really good individually in terms of their laning combination, but you are against, you know, Renata, you can throw the E onto the turrets, and you've got the Kalista who can play them really well with even with just like an early Q or a Ren stack. You're not going to get that much value out of the turrets. You're looking to see how many W's missing can land in lane. So important when it's all about lane pressure. Today, in the other games we've seen, there's been a lot of scaling, there's been a lot of waiting until 2 items. This is all about first 3 levels, first couple of waves of the game. See that the top laners, the Renekton and the Xanse, they might bully each other about a little bit, but the focus is not on them. It's about what's going to happen in a 3v3 bot side. And with jungles being left there, both teams respected last picks between Tian and Kanavi, 2 of the best performing junglers in the league. I think it tells a lot about how they want to use their junglers to influence bot lane.
I just love this draft from Top Esports though. This is sheer LPL aggression. Lee Sin jungle, Renekton top, Kalista Renata bot. Just aggression across the board, and then your scaling mage in the mid lane for Creme, who can get prio and get out onto the map. Let's see what JDG have to answer though in the jungle, and it is going to be Kanavi going on to a carry with the Graves.
So, that Graves is not going to have a huge amount of setup. JDG are not going to have a huge amount of setup. Now, it's worth noting, Top Esports, we said that they are like the aggressive early LPL Zug team. They're going to run at you. First 3 levels, be afraid. JDG, they have one of the slowest average game times on the reverse of that too. They are almost 7 minutes slower than Top Esports on average, and you can see that with the lacking engage that they have, even with some of these champions being quite early game, with, you know, the bot lane being dominant and then Ari being able to get some push in as well, it's going to be hard for them to press the go button. It wouldn't surprise me to see if JDG have to respond to Top Esports rather than making their own plays.
We saw Sheer receiving a little pep talk, because it's worth mentioning that Sheer will be playing today up against 369. I'd created an entire segment about 369 versus Flandre in the top lane, and it's going to be Sheer playing. Then I created an entire segment highlighting 369, and we fell behind the schedule, so we don't even get to do that one either. But it will still be 369 up in that top lane, and Sheer with the world against him here. We'll see how he stands up to the titan of the top lane here in the LPL.
369, it was going to be 369 versus his replacement. Now it's 369 versus his replacement's replacement. As he faces his team, he got the LPL 3-peat on. JDG, still a load of those members who achieved that too. And they're joined, of course, by the LCK 3-peat coach and Martha, who's led them onto those picks and bans and onto the Rift as well. This is the match to watch. 3rd place versus 2nd place. They've both taken some heavy losses recently, notably to Fun plus Phoenix. They want to bounce back against each other.
Yeah, the 2 teams that have lost to Fun plus Phoenix recently, the 2 big upsets as we head into Summoner's Rift.
Oh, word. Okay, so this crowd is alive and kicking.
They've made up for the previous series, that's for sure. The arena is packed today, and I can't say I'm surprised. If I was over there, I was in Beijing, I would definitely be in the arena today for this one. Yagao finding Creme, a charm to start it off as Kanavi charges forward, electrocute procced already, and Creme chunked right before leading phase starts.
And Creme, a player that's gone towards the Hwei a lot. If you told me that he would be playing this mage champion this time, let's say about 2 years ago, I would have called you crazy. He was not the mage player a little while ago. He's done his best to pick it up. It feels like taking a chunk like that early on, not going to help against Yagao.
Kanavi getting a lot of champion damage out. Like, if we look at just champion damage
DPM,
so far this game
incredible.
right now, it's huge for Kanavi. Consistently finding targets as the solo laners of Top Esports finding themselves in those fights. And as you mentioned, the turrets not lasting long against this Kalista Renata, and also can be used to reset the Rens. However, while all that's happening, they are DPSing onto JackeyLove and Meiko, so it does make for difficult trades here for Top Esports.
You see that Meiko walking up and trying to use the E cooldown to try and clear those turrets, use the shield, and then, of course, the extra damage as well. But it's quite a long cooldown at early levels. You can see that we're missing 2 of the best laning duos in the LPL so far, picking laning champions, and they're trading quite well against each other.
This is going to be an exciting bot lane to watch. You just feel it, can't you? Level 2 spike hit, and that's a cleanse out from JackeyLove. It's a heal from Meiko as well. Great punish from Ruler and missing, using the range advantage and actually forcing a reset out from JackeyLove.
So that's one thing which happened in bot lane. In mid lane, the picture-in-picture, in case it was confusing what happened there, Creme, he had to reset early, but used the long-range QW, that severing bolt, to get some of those minions who didn't miss out on all too much XP. Important, given that he leveled up the charm first and they tried to force Creme out of lane. So Creme at least survives in mid lane, while bot lane in much less good position.
They are. Ruler missing, getting a lot of pressure out, and this is the power of the Heimerdinger as well. While the cannon tanks the tower, your turret just fires away endlessly on the tower. That's already a plate for JDG in the bottom side. Fantastic bit of 2v2 against Kalista Renata as well. This is arguably the strongest 2v2 in the entire game right now. There's a reason that Kalista is banned almost every game in the LPL. It feels like JDG have the answer to that pick.
And also, you know, top esports, they have been some of the best individual players of these champions as well. So it's not like it's a player diff in terms of, or rather like punishing a player who is not as experienced on the champion. It's not their favorite thing. Both of these duos have gone towards early kill pressure TV2s many times in this split. Bot side 3v3 with the junglers now coming down here. Might change the equation though. Tian, fully out Kanavi, the Lee Sin, very scary in early levels.
Yeah, the battle for the crab. As 369 actually pushed underneath the tower. Nice little combo there from Sheer. But Tian will be able to grab that crab for himself. Meiko and JackeyLove got to be a little cautious just in case Kanavi tries for something in the bottom side, but could be a double crab angle for Tian. He is going to reset. I wonder if he runs straight up towards that or just goes for his next camps.
See the 369 doing his best to stay up on Max Rage's Fury, whatever it is for Renekton. I forget the difference between the two. Of course, Renekton had a couple of buffs recently. Santa had a lot of nerfs recently, so before, felt like Santa would absolutely win out this matchup. Nowadays, see that 369, who's also a very experienced Renekton. It was one of his best champions even last year on JDG, and they went towards so close to that golden road. A champion which had a lot of success on, so Sheer, not an easy time against one of the greatest top laners the LPL see.
It's not going to be easy. It never was going to be easy. Renekton actually 369's most played champion of all time. 43 and 21 on that pick. Not that surprising that it's his most played since he's been in the LPL all this time, and it's been better in the LPL basically forever. The start of this year was basically the only time we've not seen Renekton in the meta, and lo and behold, he's back again. The croc up top, as Tian does get both of the crabs and can look towards grubs as well.
And Tian, I think it's fair to say, he's had some of the best early pathing of any of our LPL junglers. It's always been one of his specialties. He's been someone who's kind of thrown out different paths. He gets the double scuffle there away from Kanavi. Important, Graves starts getting a farm advantage. Tends to keep onto that. Sean misses in the mid lane. We see that both of these mid laners picked up Dark Seals. Sometimes we see the boots too early just to try and win out the battle of skill shots, but with both of these, they are trying to get that early fight potential. As we said before, JDG have less ways to start fights. It really is on a a clutch stun from missing, which is quite hard to land because it's not that long range from the Heimerdinger, or something like a charm. Again, there's not that much follow-up CC. It's really on top esports to determine whether that fight is going to start.
So grubs for Drake to start us off, and I feel like everyone is keeping their eyes on the jungle matchup right now. But Tian is ahead in terms of the clear rank. Got both of the crabs. He's on his second to last camp of his second clear here, whereas Kanavi is only just starting his second clear as he moves up towards that top side, and did go for the Drake. So slight advantage there for Tian, and perhaps an opportunity to get out onto the map. Could try and get into this bottom lane. Might be difficult to actually find a gank angle though, to be honest, as unless Meiko goes for like a flash handshake, there's not a lot of setup.
Yeah, again, I'm a little bit worried that because there's little setup and both of these teams, well, at least JDG, they play quite slowly. I wonder if things are going to slow down a little bit. We have got the level 6. It's kind of on Yagao. Watch out to see if he can get himself and be the facilitator, which he can very much be for his team. But feels like Kanavi, he's happy to be scaling up and farming as long as he has access to it now.
Ruler, ooh, flash for flash there. Meiko did go for the flash handshake, but doesn't quite connect onto Ruler. That's heal used as well by Ruler. Tian surely won't go for this now. And I do just want to correct myself, Kanavi had done his top side as well.
Right.
So finishing the clears at
Oh,
a very
amazing.
similar time there.
Oh, 6.
The kick onto Ruler didn't have his flash available, and Meiko can find the handshake. Rend for first blood as Top Esports start strong.
It was always going to be Top Esports that were choosing the fights in this game, and they choose it twice in a row, and the bot side 3v3. Ruler goes down. He's a player which so many players targeted in the early game to try and stop him getting off of the ground. It's a success there. Kill onto JackeyLove's Kalista as well, one of the best Kalistas in the league. I know when we talk about JackeyLove, it's kind of a, well, he's kind of one of the best of everything in the league as well. So giving with that early gold, very, very helpful for Top Esports to get this Kalista Renata, the Kalista Renata rolling and get them doing some damage to the map.
So far, so good then. They've got him rolling. They've got the kill into JackeyLove's pocket. Tian, really great play there. Off the back of Meiko, forcing the summoners for Ruler. I thought the play was over, but Tian saw the angle, and I mean, Tian's Lee Sin. What more can you really ask for? He's so good at the pick. Kanavi now starting the crab off as Tian moves in, and I think Kanavi realizing that this is scary to go up against Meiko. Roaming over as well. Handshake does land, perhaps Creme can follow up. Doesn't have a ton of mana to work with. The fear comes on in, bit of damage. It'll be enough to push him away and take the crab.
Good discipline from Kanavi, doesn't have to blow the flash. Maybe if he'd panicked, he would have gone towards that, but on the other side of the jungle matchup, the personal view. This one out there, using Ruler's support, missing. Taxi over, get that kill onto the flashless Varus. Clean plays in the early game.
Great stuff out from Tian. Call him Beckham, because that's the golden boot right there. Fantastic bit of a kick. Fantastic way to see missing and use him as a bridge to make the play onto Ruler. That ain't supportive. That's quite the opposite from missing there. But again, this Heimerdinger Varus, even with the kill in JackeyLove's pocket, is still going to be quite oppressive during the laning phase.
Yeah, and it's doing a decent job of, stopping the Kalista Renata from finding those, those awful all-ins it is to play against, where they just hop beyond the minion wave with the bailout running as well. It's one of the real strengths of Kalista Renata is that you can kill the Kalista once, but if she holds onto the Rend stack, she has to wait the entire duration of the bailout as well to keep throwing those javelins into you, rend them out. So you need to try and stop them from finding that first part of the all-in. Now they're pulling out Kanavi.
Could be a big fight here, but Meiko has his ultimate face call. Used to keep Meiko safe here. And it looks like gonna call off on trying to all in for this one. Realized that Yagao had roamed away. And I just want to point out as well, we're seeing once again Top Esports versus JDG. Last year, that was Knight up against Top Esports. This year, it's Yagao versus Top Esports, but without Knight in the picture.
Yeah.
It still feels strange for me, this matchup, without those two mid laners. But Creme stepping in, and as the guy that's got to fill the boots here on this roster, feels like Creme has had a fantastic year. It feels like he's evolved so much over the last couple of years as a mid laner.
No, and we can compare Creme to Sheer on the other side. Two rookies, well, not rookies, but two players which are not of the level of veterancy and the real elite nature of the other players on their roster, which have been given a space to really evolve as players and try and reach that next level. Creme has been good for a long time. Has he been elite though? He's not really gotten himself into that upper echelon just yet. Sheer's only just starting off his LPL journey on the other end of this, and they have a lot of teammates beside them which are a lot more storied even in this matchup than themselves.
And it does feel like either of these organizations have got such a legacy to fulfill, but enough about legacies. Tian moving in to try and steal away the grub, but can't get it. JDG grab 3 for themselves, evens that up. It's 369 starting onto Sheer. Tian nearby, but Tian much more interested in the Rift Scuttler. But as I was saying, the kind of legacies of these teams is so hard to live up to when you look at who's been top. Literally, you're up against the legacy for JDG as you're playing Sheer. 369 was the top laner for that previous team. Got the 3 trophies back to back. 1 MSI with that roster. For Creme, you're filling the shoes of Knight. You're filling the shoes of Rookie. 2 of the all-time mid lane greats of the LPL.
It really does feel like 369 is in that position of bringing a lot of that success to both of these rosters, who are kind of historic LPL orgs. Well, actually, 369 was there for that history on either side, and in this kind of game, it's gone toward the Black Cleaver first. We've seen a lot of the Eclipse. I think in this game, when you've got the Kalista, you need to chew through the front line. That's like a Thorn Bell first. The Black Cleaver makes a lot of sense. Don't think they're going to influence this Dragon fight first. Tian has been spotted out. Kanavi Not really that anxious to go in towards the river, though. They know the Ren stacks are already there, giving away the early dragon, so it's one of us.
Powerful Drakes in this game as well. Infernal versus Hextech, and then a Mountain Soul to boot. 369. Oh, he denies the recall. Pretty huge for 369. Dominus available and pops it immediately. Might be a ghost angle for Sheer here, but it looks like he's just out of range. The W buffer does mean he can trade back ever so slightly, but honestly, Sheer, you're happy with that one because that's Dominus for essentially nothing.
To an extent, the thing is, 369 is going to teleport back anyway, so you could just say that 369 is just trying to get as good a HP trade before he goes back and effectively uses it as a full regen situation for himself. He can do that whenever he wants. It's Sheer the one that's recalling now. They both are. Sheer no teleport to influence the rest of the map, though. But still, you're starting to see how Sheer on this Cassandra can nullify what the Renekton can do in the early game, despite all the buffs Renekton and the nerfs to Cassandra. Sheer is a player, I think, who has a lot of eyes on him. He played, he's played another series now as well. This isn't his first series in the LPL. Very strange to sub him in straight into top esports. But what we know of Sheer as a player is that he has been a very solid individual laning player. When it comes to judging some of the longer fights, he's overstayed a little bit. There was a game he played on Udyr where he overchased for a kill and then he kind of ended up losing his summoners, losing his life, and then Shane dying a bit after that point. But the individual laning phase has been very much on point from the rookie top laner, JDG.
Yeah. And it does feel like that's the difference of whether or not you've got a ton of experience in competitive play, right? When you lose summoners in competitive play, it's punished so much harder than what you expect in solo queue, what you expect even in like the LDL. Like the LPL teams are some of the best at punishing missing summoner spells, especially with aggressive compositions like, for example, Lee Sin, Renekton, and Kalista. Very, very good at punishing lacking summoner spells. So keeping our eyes on Sheer throughout this one, but for now, still has his Ghost. He's on the Cassandra relatively safe. He's doing a good job so far this game. And I don't think 369 will have much of an angle anytime soon with that Thornmail in his inventory.
No, and that's why he's going for the Black Cleaver, and he's just saying, look, I'm going to help out Kalista and Lee Sin at some point in the game. It's not really about the individual lane. You can't even hit the turret that easily. 369 going back towards the side, letting Yagao maybe get himself a charm here. It's not that much damage just yet. Yagao got himself onto his first item. I wonder if he's going to go towards something a little bit more Leandry-y, because you've got that Renekton and Lee Sin to shoot through the front. I think this game is going to come down to frontline kill compositions, because of just the way that there's lacking engage to actually support the dive either side. You see that JDG can use this opening to trade sides of the map. Got a lot of vision on bot side. They get themselves a bot lane turret. On esports, they're returning and trying towards the top side. But it's been 15 minutes in a top esports game, and there is one kill. It really does highlight the difference in the way that these teams like to play top esports. The average game time is split 28 minutes and 24 seconds. On the other side, JD Gaming, 35 and 80. They are very, very far apart. JDG get themselves the first turret. They end up eking out wins from that quite a lot. But top esports, they might get dragged into JDG's pace here.
I think one of the big important things to talk about, we've talked about it on broadcast before, but I'll reiterate for anyone who's not been listening to the cast previously. Top esports, while their game time is very fast, their early games aren't necessarily always breakneck speed, but when they find an advantage, and they so often do, they end the game so damn quick it'll make your head spin. They are so efficient at closing games out when they find themselves their advantage. So looking for the gap in the armor of JDG. Whereas like you say, JDG, they like a slower pace of game. They're quite happy to go towards the late game. I don't know how late game we're going in this one though, to be honest, with lethality Varus versus Kalista, with an Ahri in the mid lane as well. JDG, they don't necessarily want to go to the mega late game.
For me, it's more about the lack of engage. The carries can do whatever, and they'll do damage at whatever points in the game they want to, but it's about who can actually start the fights. It really is going to be about these dragons with one apiece, and with towers being traded across the part two, mainly on a couple of miracle engages if they do happen. JDG, top esports on one side of things, they take one fight, it's kind of like they'll give them a finger and they rip off the whole arm. JDG on the other side, they are very, very good at not showing easy opportunities. When you have a player like Ruler, he is very, very good at kind of sitting in that safe pocket and convincing you to dive into him and then outplaying you. So top esports, JDG, that's going to be so fascinating to watch, see which style of play comes out on head in terms of the opportunistic snowballing from top esports and then the discipline of JDG.
It's a tale as old as time with Top Esports versus JDG, because, you know, back in 2020, we were talking about the exact same conversation of, like, the lane diffing and snowballing from Top Esports versus the disciplined play and macro play from JDG. We always coined it brain versus brawn. It doesn't feel necessarily quite the same matchup in terms of that, but certainly similar styles to what we used to see way back in the day. But 1-0, very quiet game to start us off. Top Esports, an ever so slight gold lead. And I want to recall a stat that I brought up at the very start today in the BLG series. And that's that Top Esports and BLG both still have a 100% win rate when they're ahead at 15 minutes. It was only a tiny little gold lead. Top Esports did have that gold lead. We'll see if they can keep that 100% record intact.
I was wondering for just a second there whether we'd have a flank teleport coming in from 369, because one of those wards, two of them actually, see one of them just on the right hand side of the screen there too, have survived. There's no objective to fight around right now, but if Top Esports find themselves a way to get Ruler and Missing out of this mid lane, it could be mid lane turret going with it. And after that, the plays become a lot easier on JDG. It's hard to find those plays right now, with Ruler has both summoners, Missing does too. And particularly if you have to dive into the Heimerdinger turrets, is so annoying. And imagine even that Missing is going to get himself revitalizing this first back. That's where the champion really starts to change as Heimerdinger, because at that point you can't ignore the turrets, and in a hectic team fight, one of them just tends to survive. So Top Esports, their goals are, again, not that easy to achieve. And as we continue now it's 18 minutes to the clock. It's the one kill. The game is definitely kind of, I'm not going to say it's even coming to a breaking point, but it's just coming to a point where it's so hard for Top Esports to find those openings if JDG just keeps shutting the door on vision control and build up some more of these annoying items like that Rylai's.
I want to quickly talk about top lane for a second here, because, you know, I don't think this matchup is going to explode at any time soon, but like you mentioned before, Sheer, a good laning top laner. The substitution, I think, surprised a lot of people coming into Top Esports, swapping out Flandre. But honestly, Flandre hasn't been having the greatest split of his career. The fact that against 369, you're weathering the storm here in this matchup, a matchup that we've seen a lot of top laners in the LPL since the Kazante changes, losing pretty hard against the Renekton. The fact you're doing this well in CS, the fact that you've kind of weathered the storm and denied a lot of the pressure 369 usually brings to the table, I'm pretty impressed by Sheer this game. Even though not a lot has happened in that top side, he's not got any points on his scoreboard. Still impressive just to be even with 369 in this matchup. There's not many top laners in the LPL that would have weathered the storm quite as well as he has. I have maybe just cursed him there. Sheer now goes for the all-out, dashes away, and will be able to get out to safety. Beautifully done.
Yeah, so it delays a little bit on the bot side, but not really enough. It's going to be a turret going down on bot side. I think 369 can maybe clear out this top side too, especially with the Charm missing. It's going to be one wave dump. This is happening. Ruler missing, gets damage to that turret. As we talked about before, the Heimerdinger turrets can help you out a little bit in regards to that too. Top Esports continuing the push on bot side, while JDG are quite slow to take the turrets in the other two lanes.
Training onto Sheer as well as Tian. Will dash away to Creme, but using these grubs very effectively here to get damage down. Dominus used in the top side. 369 is in all kinds of trouble. Flashes away from the charm. Gets a stun down as the turret shot's coming through, but missing. Will flash away to safety. Tier 2 in the bottom side as the cross map.
That was a really close situation for 369. The redemption doesn't quite come through. He doesn't quite get himself in range for a stun or a big Q heal with his flash. So JDG eventually take down the top lane out of turret. It is at the cost of, you know, a number of plays made across the map from Top Esports on the side, and Top Esports to keep that mid lane turret alive. So, just the one kill apiece. We've doubled our kills, 1-1 now at 21 minutes into the game. Incredible. Close run stuff. Flashes away from the charm, but can't get the stun under the turret. That can change things. And of course, the redemption just a little too late too, but good thinking from Meiko to at least place it down. Very close to affecting that play.
Yeah, nice try. If the stun hits onto Yagao, it's a very different play there. 369 showing the threat the Renekton brings to the top side of the table. But we got to talk about the macro trade there as well. It's 1,000 gold up for Top Esports, and it's all off the back of that play. Managing to get a tier 2 in the bottom side and the tier 1 mid just for the kill and the tier 1 in the top side. So definitely a very positive trade overall for Top Esports. They are still ahead. They're maintaining their lead. But like you said before, the discipline from JDG has been fantastic. They are playing fully to just deny Top Esports anything.
I think the way that JDG probably think about it is, we are so good at stopping ourselves from making mistakes in important moments that if we wait long enough, other teams, regardless if they're good or not, will make enough mistakes for us to win a game. It's not always the most compelling style of League of Legends, especially for the LPL. It feels like, you know, we have slowed down, well, we have slowed down as a region, but we have a couple of marquee teams like Top Esports speeding it up. The fact that JDG can make this game around their ideal style of play is quite important to track, because now we have to see Top Esports be bent away from their style and see if they can still come out on top.
Tian forced to ward hop away here as the TP comes out through Sheer. Fighting for mid prio, but Top Esports able to just jump straight on that wave with the Kalista. And will get that for themselves, denying these Heimer turrets as well. As Tian moves into the river, 369 buying space for his team. Drake is up onto the map. It's the 4th Drake of the game. It'd be the 3rd for Top Esports if they were able to get it. And it'd be the 3rd in a row, I believe. But whether or not they can actually muscle their way in is the question, because Heimerdinger, that's one thing he's good at, is buying space.
You see that Tian on the flank has flash, potentially looking for a big kick onto a big target. Look for, on the other side, the Barrel Assault and the Charms. That's the tools which JDG have to work with.
Going to be hard though, Ruler. Both summoners still available. Yagao is hunting for Tian, finds him, blast cones out of there, gets back onto the Drake. Neither team really wants to 50-50 this if they can help it, but Tian having that Q, being on the lease in, should have an advantage, but no, doesn't even go in. Just spited by Kanavi. JDG walk away. Top Esports go towards this mid lane, and I don't think there's any objective rush available. They just lose out.
I am very surprised that Top didn't look for a bigger fight there, especially with the work that Creme put out onto Ruler and missing, almost winning out that poke war, despite the fact that, you know, Heimerdinger is a really annoying champion around these kinds of objectives. So, Top Esports, that's a bit of an unfortunate moment for them. Of course, giving a Mountain Dragon over to Sheer as well, also not great, because Sante scales off of those resistance. When he's not using those resist to do damage, he's just being really tanky anyway. So Sheer benefit, he's probably the biggest beneficiary of that dragon.
Feels like a very reserved Top Esports today, and you have to wonder if part of that is down to the matchup, the reputations these two organizations have, the rivalry that these two organizations have had over the years. You expect both teams to take this very, very seriously, and it does feel like they are. It does feel like a lot of respect being given on both sides of the scoreboard here. And to be honest, with 2 Drakes apiece, yeah, you've got 1,500 gold in favor of Top Esports. I wouldn't say there's a discernible advantage to either team right now. It's all going to be down to execution.
Yeah, and I think that JDG, with the way that they're still, that's kind of an awful moment. Yagao does manage to get out without using his ult. That's important for him. We'll actually say that. He's forced it nonetheless. He has gone towards that Leandri. He does significant damage to 369 with no magic resist on his character. It means that both the Leandri is doing the HP shredding, and then he looks to flat hem. He's quite good into that side lane matchup in a way that Sheer probably can't get him the other way. As we were saying before, JDG, they have themselves good vision. They managed to give themselves some good uptime around this Baron as well. They've got a ward, particularly the all-seeing Baron here, with the way that the train changes. You can see that a couple of wards just towards the top of that pit, which Top Esports have managed to sweep out JDG. If those wards stay up, they can just keep in lanes and just keep grinding away and seeing if Top Esports make the first mistake.
Try and find that. Yagao no ultimate for another half of its cooldown, but look at the right of your screen, how fast that Ari ultimate ticks down. You can literally see it just moving as a clock. As here we go, Top Esports, time to put the accelerator pedal to the floor. Stacking up the rend onto the Baron, 9k on it as Kanavi moves into the area. TP being channeled by Yagao. That might be enough for Top Esports getting this summoner here, but 369
the rend, they want this.
Here. Redemption comes on in Meiko solo, and the charm will land, but Face Call keeps him alive. The rend comes in, and the smite comes in. Top Esports get the Baron as Sheer gets into a 1v3. JackeyLove almost dies, but almost ain't enough. Tian forcing them away as Creme survives as well. 369 retreats. Everybody gets out.
Top Esports get the Baron and they get a kill. JDG, their response is just not good enough. The flash charm from Yagao is onto the target with the Callisterol, so that's not a good first kill. And now JDG, they don't get enough out of that. Tian is now behind.
And the TP's coming on through as well. Tian might be able to find Kanavi here, looking potentially for a kick as he jumps on in. Gets the flash out from Kanavi. In fact, Tian didn't even have kick available there, just threatening for the fight. Both solo laners TPing in to get pressure out onto the map here for Top.
So JDG make that first mistake. It's not Top. Top are the ones which have now got themselves into a really good position in regards to like snowballing this game the way that they typically do. So, Top Esports with the advantage.
And once again, we talked about how fast Top Esports close the jaws on victory when they get their advantage. You can see 3,000 gold lead, and it's only going to increase with the tier 2 going down in the mid lane as well. Drake up in a minute's time, and you can expect potentially after this tier 2 in the top side, the Top Esports vision moves down towards where that Drake will spawn.
So JDG, they're not out of this game, but it definitely got a lot harder. They had themselves some pretty good side lane presence, and they managed to keep up a lot of ability to keep wards down in important areas of the map. They saw this going down. I have full information of this. The teleport's a little late, and I really want you to watch just how hard it is for JDG to get themselves a clean engage. Yagao, he's the person you've got to watch, but Meiko is the person stood in front of things, and the flash chant goes onto the Renata. You can't realistically kill. The ult from Sheer is also onto JackeyLove, which I don't know if that's really a good thing there. I think he's trying to keep JackeyLove out, so he can't pull the Rend out. You have to take out the Smite or the Rend. He takes out the Rend, dies on the other side of the fight. Unfortunate for him.
So, we have a brief moment of respite here, as it's 5,000, 4,000 gold lead for Top Esports. 2 Drakes apiece so far, but TES in prime position to get a third one here. JDG look like they want to contest. They look like they want to try and fight for this one. And remember, fighting in the rivers, using the Ari, using the Varus, this is where JDG can find their poke advantages. It's just a question of if they actually find those advantages before the objective goes down. But Drake already down 6k. And it looks like Kanavi's not even going to contest with the Smite, trying to find Creme on the opposite side of the play, but Drake is taken.
Oh, shit.
And Sheer is chunked as well. This is not a good play, but the Q3 finds everyone on the side of Top Esports. In the meantime, everyone dives onto Ruler. 369 finds a JackeyLove trying to survive, but he goes down as well. Tian now jumps onto the rest of the team as Kanavi is alone and finished off, missing, spiraling, and the Leandri's burning away. He walks away with his life. His intellect may be huge, but I don't know if he walks away from the croc this time. The slice, the dice, and the domination from Top Esports.
Missing, betrayed by his own turret, giving the second part of the dash for the Renekton, and we were asking the question, whose style of gameplay would take precedence? JDG and their discipline, or Top Esports and their snowballing potential, and Top Esports the ones who are very confidently coming away with a dominant game state after that one mistake led to the Baron. JDG have been left reeling and struggling to find a good fight.
Absolutely brutalized here. It was a slow start for Top Esports. As soon as they found their window, they've taken over this game, and the pressure that they put onto JDG, forcing them to fight.
So Yagao and Kanavi, they put themselves out of position, looking for Creme on the side, and it is the way. Normally you'd say that's a good kind of decision for it, but because they pull themselves away from the group, Top Esports find an angle onto Ruler. Yes, JackeyLove ends up dying, so both AD carries it down, but it really just feels like the damage differential goes the way of Top Esports once the AD carries are down and off the table, especially if Ari's not been able to get onto the correct targets as well. 369 cleaning up house at the end. What
a great ult from Meiko, getting behind enemy lines after diving onto Ruler alongside 369, then ulting from JDG's side of the map all the way across that choke point. Missing in Kanavi, desperately trying to retreat, but it feels like at this point Top Esports will slowly but surely continue to put the pressure on, and the question is, what can JDG do about it?
Well, that's a good question, because, you know, they do have a damage carry in the jungle. You have a Varus who are pretty okay, particularly for the Varus in the early game, but JDG, it feels that you don't have that miracle playmaking potential. You don't have a Lee Sin kick for Kanavi to catch out a key carry. You don't have that. It really is just on, feels like Yagao to find something big, but trying to do that through the front line, which is pretty strong right now, and of course, JackeyLove with Plans and Meiko with the cholesterol pulling him back limits your targets too. So JDG, the fact that they are behind this game means they are in a very bad position. You needed to be even or ahead, but they were the ones, uncharacteristically, who made that first mistake. They're waiting now to see if Top Esports leaves someone out of their battle formation so they can pick them off quickly with something like an arrow from long range. The Graves ult from long range. Yagao jumps in.
Do you have that long range one shot? Simply missteps, but Top Esports not a team that are known to be making big mistakes so far this year. And it feels so weird to say that after years and years of Top Esports very much being a team that are willing to make mistakes but still win out anyway through mechanics alone. Feels like This is a matured version of the roster. I've said it a lot of times over the last couple of years. JackeyLove especially feels like maturing a lot as a player. But as a whole team, I mean, everyone feels like they're in form pretty much. Tian having a great start to the split. He's a player that's been criticized a lot on top esports over the last few years. Feels like right now, this whole squad is just a powerhouse team.
Top esports, they didn't even get themselves to see international competition last year. I think by their standards, that's a failure of a year. And they take down the international powerhouse from JDG.
369 is on the back line. Basically one-taps ruler. That's surely the game-winning play from 369. Gets a double kill as well as Yagao. Spiraling Despair is a great description of JDG fans' mental right now. 369 charging forwards as top esports will take game one. Kanavi escapes with his life, but that's all he'll get away with.
369 taking matters into his own hands and saying, I won the breakup, goes back to his old team and takes down JDG in this first game with a magnificent flank to end it off.
Fantastic stuff. Tian dives on the fountain as the game ends as well. Fantastic stuff coming out from top esports. What a great little game number one coming out from them. Very, very slow paced. You know, you see Callista, you think fast paced, you think action. I can imagine a lot of people at home getting a little bit nervous that they weren't being a little bit more proactive with that Callista, but the objective control really was the real thing that Callista was bringing to the table today.
Yeah, and as soon as that Baron start was, capitalized on by top esports, the game just fell out of control. JDG, this is a team which we have often praised for being able to survive those situations, but not in game one.
Well, we were behind in that first game of the series, but we're